Hello all, welcome to SAP Fieldglass online training.
So today I'll take you through the configurations, advisor, category and classification section of SAP Fieldglass. Okay, and uh, with this, we will cover most of the segments that have been missing, because I understand you have covered profile workers, you have covered contingents and SOW as an overall overview. But this is a small gap where we create various custom fields, we create various custom lookups, custom text, we add job codes and certain fields or certain scenarios which we require for the process to flow on. Okay, we use these fields to create approval rules like we showed yesterday, as well as approval groups and a lot of other filters on various documents. Okay. So I will take you through these points first, and as we proceed ahead, we'll cover the rest points. Okay. So okay, my screen is visible, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So this is the segment that I'll be covering today. It looks pretty vast, but it's not that vast. It should get covered in a couple of hours, so should not be a problem. Okay. So since there is no particular sequence for this segment, I'll go alphabetically as it is placed in the menu. So it helps when you log in, you see the menu in the same fashion, you know what is what. I'll be sharing the documents by end of the day today. I'm still in process of finalizing them. So you will have some documents around this details as well. Okay, so let's start with the advisor. Okay, and now what is an advisor? So as the name suggests, advisor is kind of an advice we give to the user. Okay, so if we open up, and there are certain standard advisors available in Fieldglass, which they have set up based on their experience or their expertise. Like for example, job posting bill rate exceeded, or presented bill rate comparison. So these advisors are set to have visibility to the user. You can set them as a kind of warning for the user on the page, or you can set them to trigger on a particular threshold. Like for example, the job posting bill rate exceeded, if we see, it has been set to trigger the bill rate exceeds maximum rate on the template. So it's, you can set them as kind of, yep.
Sorry to interrupt you. Are you sharing your this document or you are sharing system screen? Yes.
Yes.
Now we are
Okay.
able to. We were able to see only documents till now. Maybe you can go
Sorry,
back.
that's okay. Okay, so we'll be covering this configuration section today. Okay, so starting with the advisor. Okay, so these are the standard advisors available in Fieldglass. If you see, all of them are disabled. None of them, a couple of them are seen to be enabled as well. Okay, so let's build up an advisor, and as we go through, I will explain the advisor as well, and I'll show you how the advisor works also. Okay, so while creating a new advisor, I'll be saying a job, check job for tenure more than 18 months. Few organizations have restrictions due to local employment laws or other scenarios where they don't allow external workforce to continue a stint more than say 12 months or more than 11 months or more than 18 months, whatever the local law prescribes, to avoid legal complications. So this can be one scenario where we are trying or asking the user to check if the tenure that they have put in is more than 18 months. So we can just put in the description, or, and in case that condition meets, if there is any particular scenario that they want to follow, we can put in that as well. In case the tenure is more than, let's say, okay, so something like that. Okay, So there are ways where we can set this advisor. Now advisors specifically run on terms of tenure or terms of reports. So for that we have to build a report and select that report over here. So that report then shows the expected outcome. Okay. Now right now what we will do is I'll quickly build up a report. I'll show you how the report looks like. Okay, I'll cover reports in detail in the next segment. So right now I'm just quickly covering creating a report so that we can proceed ahead with the advisor. Okay. So I have quickly created a report. Let me quickly check if this report is visible for me over here. Yes, I have the report visible. So whatever I reports that we have created will be available for you in the advisor to select. I'm selecting that report over here. Okay, and whatever I can set the filters on the report, will come to this part when we are covering the reports. Okay, now I'm setting this advisor on job posting, uh, on a job posting, and this is to be visible for a person who is viewing the job posting. Okay, so I'm quickly saving this. Okay, so this has been saved. I will go to the advisor list just to check if my advisor is enabled. Okay, so my advisor is enabled. Okay, so to check if my advisor works, let's create a job posting. Okay, I'm just quickly creating a job posting. Okay, so we have created a job posting. Quickly we can see it's pending for approval. Okay, let's I'll just copy the job posting ID, and let's in a separate page just go and check if we can view the approval and how it will look for the user. Okay, so job posting is available. So here on the job posting page, you can see all the advisors have come in, right? Whatever are active are coming in. So the one that we had set, job posting tenure, is available. If I click, say, go to details, I can see these advisors available over here, and I can just click and find out, right? I can just quickly scroll and find out what the tenure is. Okay, we can build this report to calculate the tenure of the job posting. we can eliminate these fields in the report, and it will just show that this is the business unit, this is the name of the person. You can put in relevant information in the report, and this will be available for the user when he is approving to check whether the tenure is matching the criteria. Okay, so this is how an advisor works. Any questions on the advisor?
Pankaj Santosh here.
Yeah.
So the advice for the workflow for approval and not for the person who creates the job posting for
No,
approval.
it can be set for the person who is creating the job posting as well. So let's quickly go back and I can show you that also. Sorry, just give me a minute. So when I say new, okay, I give the names and details. This is where you can select the document on which the advisor should be based. Okay, so let's say I'm selecting a job posting or a job posting template. Okay, so you can see job posting create details section, right? So let's quickly create the same advisor that we did for a job posting template. Right, so I'm just using the same report. You can use the same report for as many advisors you want. I am selecting all the tenure. Okay, I'm putting it on if I want to restrict the data, I can restrict, but I don't want to. So instead of view job posting, I'm saying create job posting in details section, and I'm saying save. Okay, so you can select the section as well. You can put it in the finance section if it's related to the finance, or it's related to the cost center, depending on that. Okay, so let's quickly create another job posting. Okay, I'm selecting, let's say, another template. So the advisor should be in the details section when I am filling it. So let me, here you go. You can see this advisor over here.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is how the advisors work. And in an advisor, you have an option where you can go and select, like, for example, the cost allocation section, the qualification section. Now since I'm selecting job posting template, it is showing me all the sections in the job posting template. I can put in the account section if it's related to the budget, if it's related to, say, distribution. Like, for example, if a worker is to be hired for Pune, please select only these suppliers. You can put in those kind of stands there as well. Okay, so it's not necessarily a report every time. It can be an instruction, it can be a warning, it can be a kind of set of steps that they need to do. Anything you can put out. Basically, an advisor is something that guides the user. Okay, like we put in a warning for 18 months. Most of the business users will not have a stringent knowledge about the local labor laws, which the HR might want to enforce, ensure that the tenure is not going beyond particular time frame. So this kind of advisors can be used in. Yeah.
Pankaj Pranali here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have one doubt.
Yeah,
We
tell me.
cannot use the same advisor for multiple display on at a
Uh,
single point of time.
no, this advice. See, the purpose of the advisor is kind of just give a pop-up message or connect it to a report or connect it to a link or certain scenarios, right? Once you create an advisor, it will be visible only in one section. If you want that advisor to be visible in another section, you can still use the same report, but you'll have to create a separate advisor for that separate section. Like, for example, this we have in the job posting template. We are using the same report for viewing of the job posting template. Let's say I want to create another one using same report on the work order. I can do that as well. So I can still use the same report and create that on the work order. Let me select the document first where I want it. Yeah. So let's say work order, and I want I want to see when the work order has been viewed or when the work order has been created. So I can select those scenarios accordingly. and based on that the advisor will be visible to them. So one advisor will be visible only in one section for a particular document. If you want the same to be visible on all documents like job posting, work order, worker, timesheet and other things, you may have to recreate the advisor, but you can use the same report again and again.
Okay.
Pankaj, I mean,
Yep.
a question. Like, I mean, you said that the tenure is more than 18 months, then only the advisor will be visible. So if
No,
it is
so
less than 18 months,
advisor will be visible. Advisor will be visible
it is
irrespective the tenure is more than 18 months or less than 18 months. It is just as a warning. It is not validating anything at the back end. It is just showing up that this is FYI, right? This is for your information for the user who's creating. We are not setting any rules over there.
So Pankaj, just
okay,
wanted to
Pankaj, got
know.
it.
Yeah, you have created the report, and let's
Mhm.
say I am the user, like user at 2, and I don't
Right.
have access to that report. So how is it? Is it showing? Is it showing me or not?
It will show you advisors because if you see the advisor that we have created, it will only show for that individual document,
Yeah, but it
right?
is pulling the
It
report from a. It is pulling the data from a report. So
doesn't
let's say
matter.
I don't
So
have access to that report. So can
no,
I see that?
yes, you can see it. So let me quickly show you the report that I have created. Okay, so report that I have created is yeah, here we go. Okay, so let me edit the report so you can see the properties of it. Okay, see, I have just basically created the report. I have it's
Mhm.
still in private access,
Okay.
right? So if you go to reports as a user too, you will still not be able to see this report unless I make it public. But on the advisor section, since you own that document, it will just show you details of that document alone. It will not show details of everything. Like you saw on the advisor, when I created, I used the report, I selected all the filters. It was selecting all business units or the whole globe water is available in the instance. But still, it is still showing me only one document. It is not showing me all the documents that are available. We have other documents also available into it in the system, but still it's just showing me this one which I'm creating. So
Thank
when you're selecting an advisor, it will only show the document on which it is no only show details of that document on which it is opened.
you. Yeah. Thank you.
That's the plus point about it. Now only thing here is the user can choose to ignore it, like it's just there. If I don't know, I have to click and I can see something, I might not look at it. So it will not enforce the user to take an action. Like I'm saying an 18 months warning, but I can still select here, like I can say select a tenure of 5 years and I can still go ahead and step forward. It will not block me. Okay. So this is just an information. It will not restrict anything. It will not do anything. Irrespective the user has access to the report or no, it will still show the advisor on the document and it will only show details of the document on which it is displayed. Okay. So advisor might be helpful to you specifically to give you an example in case of a business scenario when approvers, right? So as a user, you're able to view the full document when you're approving it, when you're creating the document. And for an approver, what happens is what they have to do is either they have to open the document to go in and see it, right? Otherwise, if they're just seeing in their approval page, like if someone comes here and just click on the table where I can go and approve the document, I'll just see a table something uh, like this. Okay, and I can see an approve and reject button available over here. Now if you see here, I cannot see all details of the job posting. I'll have to click on go to details link and then go in. This will just show me a quick snapshot summary as what are the rates, what is the job posting all about and everything. So if you see, there is information missing here. So someone at an approval level, let's say for example someone who is a finance controller and he is required to approve, let's say uh, a $50,000 work order. He needs some more details as to what this is about, why this is required and all. And he won't have time to go to job details and try and find out, right? Even if you see here, you don't see how many you see the position number of positions required or something other details. But if you need more details as to how many workers are already working on it, if this is a revision or what, you can go to you can set a advisor accordingly. So he can just quickly click here and check what is the details. So for him, it is a quick, know-how for whatever information is required for him before he approves, rather than going into details. Someone who is approving 100 documents a day is not gonna go in every document, click on go details, and then view all the document end to end, all these 5-7 pages, and then approve. Right? So advisor can be helpful in scenarios where you want to save the time, you want to flash up warnings or certain scenarios, but it is not going to restrict anything. Yeah. We clear about the advisors?
Yes, Pankaj, we are clear.
Yes.
Sure. Anybody has any more questions about the advisor before we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next segment that we have is category. So category is a Fieldglass specific field. It is very rarely used in case of scenarios. Okay, there are most of the times in implementation, what happens is whatever is a predefined category, the same category stays the entire tenure. The business does not tries to use those things because it does not have any impact on any classification or any it does not have any authority, like using it as a filter like we use business units while selecting an approval group or other part. This is kind of a 5S mechanism. You can categorize the documents or something on an overview level, which might help you for maintenance. So basically, if you have to create a category, you can quickly select which document it is for, right? Let's say for job posting, give the name, code name, let's say something like this, set it up and assign it to the activity item checklist to which we want to categorize it. So this will just tag those documents along. So when you're pulling in the reports, you can use this category as a field in report, and you can use it for a kind of analytics or a kind of evaluation. This will more or less have very less functional value as such, or it will have any impact on the field glass scenario. Okay. Any questions on category? Okay. So moving on to classifications. Classifications is mostly used in terms of statement of works. So you can define a code, say I'm defining this as a category over here. And then we can define what kind of an SOW type we want to use, right? So while creating the SOW templates, we define certain types for it. You might define different types of SOW, as if some SOW templates might be used just for a project purpose, some might be used for a service purpose, some might be used for hiring workforce, or some might be used for an outsourcing kind of an invoice. So whatever business model it runs on, the SOW types can be defined, and then we can attach a classification to that type over here. So let's attach what type of SOW should be used when this code is available. Okay, so I quickly attach an IT consulting. Okay, I can define which all suppliers would be falling under this classification. So I am just using one supplier which I have created today, uh, and assign the SOW templates which can be used for this kind of a category. So I have one template full service. I am assigning it to him. Okay. So now my classification list has been done. I have a classification where I have India IT Java projects, anything to be done with it. It needs to have an SOW type, which is IT consulting and full service. Okay, so let's quickly create a statement of work and see how this works. Okay, you see the classification coming up over here. So this is where I choose what I want. I can see it's a Java project. The moment I select the classification, I can select whichever user I want. Since I am creating on for myself, I'm just selecting it and say next. Okay. The moment I do this, the template will directly select which template it has been restricting to. It will not show me any other templates available to me. It's not like we don't have SOW templates available in the system. If I have to quickly check for the SOW templates available in the system, so see, we have 2 templates available, but SOW is allowing me to use only one template, right? So how classifications work in business is there are a lot of material category codes, there are a lot of business classifications, there are various departments, various cost centers and other things. So classification can be anything. It can be a cost center. You can build a classification like if it is a cost center for a project, then only project related templates should be allowed to be used. If the classification is for, let's say, a regular service, or if you have an internal client, then there should be a different template. If it's an external client, then it should be a different template, right? So this is basically kind of hand holding done for someone who's creating a statement of work. We define a classification, he just selects a relevant classification, and then the system guides which all suppliers are available for you, right? From a supply management perspective, I might be dealing with, say, thousands of suppliers, and you've been from business, possibly from IT, you may not be aware of all the suppliers that we have in the system, right? So what a supply management person does is he gets the classification created that if you want Java projects, these are the 100 suppliers that you can use. You can create a SOW bid or an SOW, and then either you can float it to all the suppliers and look for the lowest possible rate, or you can, if you know which supplier you want to send it, you can just send it to that supplier. So this will specifically help the user to identify which all suppliers are available for him to send the SOW for from the pool of suppliers that we have. Okay, is this clear? Yeah.
In a way, Pankaj, this like this classifications are associated with the templates, right? So whenever
Classifications, I would rather suggest that templates are associated with classifications.
templates are
Yeah,
other way
you,
around.
yeah. So basically what you are doing with a classification is, uh, let's say for an organization who has a manufacturing setup and an IT setup and a sales setup and a finance setup, right? Everybody will be requiring to create a statement of work for some or the other purpose, right? A manufacturing setup might want to create a statement of work for an AMC, for some CNC machine, or for some production line or whatever. And IT might require a statement of work for, let's say, outsourcing a particular technology, might be outsourcing, say, Java programming or testing or whatever. And the same scenario, you might have a Salesforce division which might want to create a statement of work for, let's say, housekeeping purpose, and the finance vertical might want to create it for some IT purpose. So like uh, arranging desktops and taking care of their IT assets and everything. So everybody has a separate set of suppliers that they need to cater to. But for a supply management person, he's catering to all 4 units. He has a huge pool of suppliers. You as a user don't know which supplier you have to go to, right? You can see a huge list of suppliers. The same supplier might be providing multiple services. So this will help you help the user who is creating statement of work to select the right template. This will also save time, and it will also save further complications, because as you go ahead in creating the SOW, it will go to various level of approvals based on what type of SOW it is, or we might require some more details which are required for that project and other scenarios, right? So this is basically guiding the user through a right channel, showing him steps. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. Okay, so these are very small steps, classification, category, advisor, and all. Okay, so contextual help. Okay. Now, what is contextual help? Contextual help is available in the system. This regularly pops up at scenarios where you need it kind of pops up as a balloon, and it shows what this step does. Okay. Now, what you can do is for a contextual help. Let me quickly check an active one. Yep, I can see one is customized. Okay. So this is for the buyer. So you want to give some instructions to a particular field, cost allocation. Now what you have to do in cost allocation is you can use the cost allocation tab to make changes to cost center, task code, expense code, set primary cost centers. Okay, let's quickly check where this is, and I can show you in the form how this will look. Which one is customized? This is worker, and this is worker edit. Activities for worker edit. So these are standard set available in the system. If you see, we don't have an option to create new or anything. These are standard set. Most of them you will see are blank, as there's nothing set for them. So let quickly look out for a job posting, which will be easiest for us to test, and I can show you how to set it up as well as how this will look like. Okay, so I'm checking using this one, job posting create buyer. Okay, I'm clicking on none as nothing is available. Okay, I can just say for tenure of less than 18 months. Title, I can put in the same as pop-up. Now I'm selecting on top of the page. I can go down, and at the owner I can select the manager for the new resource. So this is basically nothing else but advising the person what he's to fill in there, right? Like select the billing currency, the currency. So you have a short title, and you have about 1,000 character open text. You can add links. Okay, so let's say if I have to just quickly add a link over here. Or I can just select a report name here as well. Okay, but I don't have that report available. That's okay. You can see how it will look like in the preview, right? This is how it will look. And I'm just updating it. Now, contextual help is a global setting. It cannot be set on a particular region, but it can be set on a particular language. If you select German, this will appear only when the user who is creating the document has German selected as his native language. Okay, so let's quickly create a job posting, and there you go. Right, so this is the first one. If I select the document, there it is again, and there should be one more that we have there should be a couple of more that we have selected. Let's quickly make one. The second one that we created. Okay, so second one is not available here. Okay, complete later. So you have the idea now, right? How the contextual help works, right? I have the link also put in over here, which is bringing me back to this page because I copy pasted the same link over there. Any questions here?
So Pankaj, like you are mentioning, this is a global setting in Fieldglass.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for a particular vendor or someone, like if they want to add or make any edits to this, is there a possibility that can be done or anything can be added specific?
Yep. So this is a global setting, so changes are possible. Okay. So this is a contextual help. Now what we are doing is we are doing it in the buyer account. If you want to do it for the supplier, the person who's going to work for the business, you will have to go to the supplier account now, but you will have to go to the supplier account, and the supplier will be able, in his account, suppliers will be able to do it. In Fieldglass, you always need to remember one thing. When you are implementing from the buyer's side, right? So you will have access only to the buyer's side of it. You will not have access to the supplier's logins. So whatever settings are to be done for the supplier, either you will have to speak with him and ask him to get it done, or somehow ask him to share his screen, and then possibly you can do it on his behalf. But from my login as an admin, I cannot log into my supplier's account, or cannot even touch any settings on the supplier side of the account.
Okay, so if it is for two different buyers, one buyer organization wants specific settings to be changed, then is that possible?
It's not possible. Both of them have to agree on a common mutual setting. That's the discomfort over here. So there is a way, let's say, for example, one buyer wants to change it. Okay, it's possible if the language is different. Let's say one of your buyer is set on English United States and the other buyer is set on English UK, then that's possible. You can do it. But then all the users for the other buyer have to be set on English UK. So where you set the user is when you're creating the user, just to say, check what my language setting is. So when the user is created, the language is set. So whatever this language is set will show me. Let's say, for example, I change my language to UK, right? I have made the change. I still have the configuration setting done on US, English US. I'm creating the job posting. Now I don't have that the contextual help coming up here. Right, I just logged in and changed the setting. In the same scenario, let's say I go back again, just change my setting back to English US. Okay, I'll refresh this page and here it comes back again. This is possible, but this is really very complex, because in that case, your buyer might have thousands of users. All those thousands of users should be on that language setting. Okay, but let's say, for example, you want this to come in for a particular field. We have another option. I'll take you to that as well. Okay, which can be set on a particular field. Okay, so this is about contextual help. I'll come back to your point in a while once we move to the custom field section. But do we have any other questions on contextual help?
You mentioned like if supplier wants to set any contextual help, then they can
Mhm.
set it in from their account, right?
Yes, they can set it from their account. So
But from supplier account, I cannot see any.
when the supplier accounts are created, or when the environment is set up, there are certain settings that Fieldglass has to do before they set up the company code accounts. Okay, so once they're creating the buyer account, they have to set certain company settings as to what all will be available for the supplier, what all will be visible, what all will not be visible. That's where we can control. Now if you are checking the supplier login account over here in this setting, you are seeing a lot of configurations available, right? But for some buyers, suppliers will only be able to see very few settings, which are to like creating their users, defining reasons, and possibly creating reports. Nothing else will be available to them. But in this instance, if you log into supplier account, you are also able to see a configuration manager access available to them, which will not be available in terms of regular business, because the buyer will not want supplier to create integrations in his organization from Fieldglass to some other system without buyer's knowledge. So those kind of scenarios are pretty much restricted. But I'll pull out the documents around supplier and I'll share it with you, because it will not be visible. We in such cases, we at times have to approach Fieldglass and ask them to get the setting done from the backend, and they will take the supplier's consent and get those settings done for them.
Actually, I checked in company details from supplier also, so I did not get to enable the thing. Okay, then.
Yeah.
If you have any document.
Sure, I'll do share. Any other questions on contextual help? Okay, so moving on to custom fields. Now, when we create a form, be it job posting, be it decision form, be it direct hire or SOW, we can see there are fields available which are SAP, SAP default fields, Fieldglass default fields. Let's say for quickly, if I have to create a yeah, so we can see these fields are SAP default, right? You have site, you have business unit, cost center, but the business might require a lot more details. They might require, say, a business case. They might require a reason. They might require, does this person requires access to IT, and does this person requires IT assets? Does he is going to come and sit in the premises and all that stuff? Okay, so how those fields are created is basically by creating custom fields. So let's quickly create a custom field on the job posting page, and I can show you how we can restrict that custom field as well. Okay, so I'm selecting a module. I'm saying a job posting. So this is one issue here, because the moment we select the module, it will freeze off and we can't change it. Okay, so I'm saying job posting, and I'm saying I need is premises access required. Okay, now there was one question sometime back when we were checking about contextual help as to how we restrict this contextual help region wise or business unit wise, right? So there would be custom fields, or there would be fields which would be restricted, which can be restricted to business unit wise and region wise or cost center wise. So when the job posting template, the same job posting template is used by different business units, they will see different custom fields which are applicable to them. Okay, so is a premises access required might be applicable for an IT setup. It might not be applicable for a Salesforce setup, because all of them are going to be in the market and there is no premises to give access to, right? So how do we put details as to how to answer to that field is we put in the description for it. Okay, is the worker required to enter okay, so this is kind of a description. You can just put in a message. This is a 1,000-character open message. It will pop up as a yellow balloon when this field is selected. I'll show you how it comes up. Okay, now when you are creating a custom field, there are various types you can create. You can create it as an open text field, where once this field will just give an open text column, you can enter any values. You can ask the field to just accept numbers, dates. You can put in a user defined pick list, segmented pick list, company defined pick list, so and an SAP predefined pick list. So we'll come to this pick list types when we move on to the pick list section, but just remember that there are different types of pick lists that you can choose from. A text area is kind of a bigger area. So if you select just text, it will give a small field like this. But if you select a text area, it will give you 1,000-character text box. and segmented objected detail grid. So this is again kind of metrics that can be uploaded, and then it will ask values to be selected. So right now I am just selecting, say, Fieldglass predefined pick list, and I am selecting yes or no option. Okay, so Fieldglass predefined pick list has basic pick list. It will ask zip code, yes or no option, or O star net code. Now O star net code is used when we are using SAP in integration with other SAP tools. Some of the other tools need this value, but most implementations we don't use this anywhere. So I'm just selecting whether I want yes or no. I can define whether it should be a drop down or it should be a radio button. Okay, so radio button will give the field something like this, and if it's a drop down, it will give something like this. Okay, so I'm putting it as a drop down. Okay, I'm saying this is a mandatory value, so I'm defining whether that field should be filled or it can be ignored. I can just enter a text over there and mark that field as read only, kind of an instruction to be given. Okay, I can define which all roles can fill it. Okay, I can just say selected roles and it will ask me which all roles needs to fill that. Okay, or I can say this field needs to be filled in via integration. Okay, now when this option is used, there are cases when you, especially in terms of work order, there might be an integration where you are creating the work order, and once the work order is approved, it sends an IDOC or some command to SAP for generating a purchase order. And once that purchase order is generated, the PO number is sent back by SAP. Okay, and we want that PO number to be populated in this custom field. That's when we select this kind of details, like this value is to be filled by integration only. So when you select this details, that field becomes non-editable for all user roles except when the value is brought back by the integrations. Okay, so I'm putting in this value is to be filled by all roles. I can define where this field needs to appear. This is the sequence of fields in the form of job posting. Right now I'm putting it as 0 as is. I can select which section I want this in, whether I want it in detail, accounts, or posting information. So I'm putting this as in details. I can just say top or bottom, or I can say after. When I select after, it will tell me where it wants to, where it has to appear. So I'm saying it has to appear after, say, site. Okay, and default value. Okay, so if you want that the user uh, time should be reduced, so we can put in certain default values over there. I can put in yes, no, or just leave it blank. So whatever default value is put in this field will by default populate on the form. Okay, so do I want to validate entry? The entry validation is not required, so I'm saying no. This is not storing in encrypted data, so I'm saying no. And this is not a personally identifiable information, so I'm saying no. Okay, will this affect all active templates? I'm saying yes, it has to define all active templates. And these are the filters where I govern to which all business this field will be eligible for. So I am selecting all business units, but I'll not select sites and labor types, and I'll show you why. Okay. Should this field be visible to supplier? It's a choice that business has to take, whether you want this field to be seen by the supplier or no. I'm saying access to premises is required, so supplier should know whether he requires access or no. I'm saying okay, yes, it should be visible. Whether the worker needs to see it, I don't want worker to see it. Okay, now which are modules this should come on? I'm saying this should come on work order, worker, work order revision. Okay, and it should be visible on those models to supplier as well. Who can enter it? Only buyer can enter it. Okay, so this is link modules. The importance of this table is when you're creating a custom field and you want that custom field to be replicated on the follow-up documents. Okay, it does not just replicate, it also pulls the value from the parent document. Okay, so when we say I am creating these on a job posting, and based on that job posting, if I create a work order, this field will be replicated on work order along with my response in the job posting. It will not just appear as a blank field. Okay, that's why we are connecting this, and I'm saying add. So now this field has been created, but it will still not be visible on the job postings because I have yet to select which site and which labor types this is applicable to. Okay, so there might be scenarios where in, say, contingent workers, a business might define that I have a temp contingent worker, I have a full-time contingent worker, I have a part-time contingent worker, and what all classification that business wants. Okay, so this labor types might help you define those classifications, and sites will help you to define which site needs to see this. Okay, so what I'll say is in US, I just need one site to see it, that is say San Francisco, and I don't want to use this for Washington DC. Okay, so I'm selecting one site, and for now I'm selecting all the labor types that are available because we don't have a classification. I can say, for example, anybody who's falling in a food service category, I don't want him to view this. If anybody is in admin clerical category, this is not applicable to him. So I can define it whatever I want. Since this is access to premises, I'm saying yes, everybody is eligible. Okay, and that's it. Now let's quickly create a job posting. We have a job posting, but this will not appear here because we have created the field. Now you always have to remember one thing. Okay, when a custom field is created, the date on which it is created, any of the job postings which are created or active before that custom field is created, those job postings will not have that custom field appearing on it. Okay, so if I see an old job posting, this will not have that custom field available because I have just created this custom field right now, but this job posting was creating long before. Okay, even if I restart it or revise it, that custom field will still not appear. Or even if I copy this job posting, the custom field will not appear. It will appear in only those job postings or only in those documents which are created after that field was created. Okay, so this is a common error that appears from business. They ask us to create custom fields, we create them, and then they say it's not appearing in a previous job posting because the job posting was created before the custom field was done. Okay, so any questions in creation of job posting custom field? Okay,
Pankaj,
so let's
this Radha.
Yeah.
My question is specific to the positioning of this custom field in any of the page. So, for example, if we are looking for this field after a certain field.
Okay.
So, what should be the logic to place it that way?
So the logic, see, the basic logic is which field that is related to, right? Now here I am saying is premises access required. Okay, now I'm just saying that my San Francisco unit is an IT unit which has a huge security control. It has a lot of turnstiles and a lot of gate access, and anybody who has to enter the premises would need an access. Okay, whereas let's say my Washington DC office is kind of an open office. It's a sales office. Anybody can just walk in, do his work and go out, right? So in that case, I may not need a premises specific permission required, right? So here we created the custom field, right? If I'm selecting Washington DC, that field disappears.
Okay. Can you please open any of the work order?
Yes,
Sorry, your
sure.
job posting.
Yep, I can.
So if we open the details tab, so we'll be seeing a list of fields, right? So my question was, if I want to place this custom field above or below any of this, so can we do this?
Yes,
for example,
we can.
If I want that field but after respond by date.
Yes, we can do that. So respond by date is, let me quickly check where it is. Yep, here it is, right? Sorry. Where did it go? Yeah. So you want it to be placed after respond by date, correct?
Yes,
So
correct.
that can be done. I'll take you, I'll create one more custom field and then show you how it is done in a moment. Okay, so just hold on to that question right now. So what we did was we created the custom field and we classified it based on the sites. Okay, so if I select San Francisco, it refreshes and it shows me that field. It is appearing as blank. And if I select Washington DC, it is not showing me that field. Although that field is mandatory, I can still fill in the rest details and push it forward and it will not block me. But moment I select San Francisco, this field is also mandatory. It shows it is required. Okay, now we had put in a description for this. So this is how the description appears. The moment I select this field, this is how the description appears. So this was the question that came up in contextual help. How do you want to use contextual help in case it is region specific, business unit specific, or a field specific thing? Okay, so this is kind of contextual help. Only thing is we are putting it against the custom field description. Okay, so are we clear with this? Any questions you have about the custom field, or how it is to be created, or how it is to be classified, or how it is to be restricted to units and other things?
Pankaj, is there any
Yes.
limit on the number of custom fields we can create?
Practically, there is no limit on the number of custom fields you can create, but system perspective, your field glass point of contact may raise a concern when the field limit goes beyond, let's say, 150 or about 175 and over. Because what happens is that puts up load on the field glass processing systems. Uh, that extent of custom fields are mostly not required. It is very very limited cases where a business might ask for huge amount of custom fields, because end of the day the number of custom fields you put in is the amount of effort that the requester is going to put in to fill those fields, right? And in any system we want to make it easy, so it's the less number of clicks required to fill it, otherwise the user will not be interested in using the system.
Okay, Pankaj, thank you.
Yeah. Any other queries? Okay, then coming back to the query that we have in hand about placement of custom fields, let's quickly let me check if I can edit the placement. Right, so this is the sequence, right? So I have said I want it at the site location and other thing. So let me quickly create a new custom field back and let's place it after the okay. I'm putting this on job posting, and I'm opening a job posting with me right now here so that I can gauge which field it is for. Okay, so you want it to be placed after respond by date. Okay, so we can say whatever name of the custom field is. I'm just typing in okay. So whatever type, I'm just selecting the text. I'm saying this is a mandatory value. It is not read only. Now I want this to be placed in the job posting details template. Okay, I'm saying after, and I can select the field over here. It's not available. So let's quickly check bottom. I'll say bottom placement, and I'll have to select the sequence. Okay, so let's say 11. So it's the 11th field I want to place it as. So I'm putting the sequence as say 11, and yes, it has to affect all supplier, and I'm eliminating the rest all things. Let's quickly test it for the job posting scenario. Should have selected all. Okay, I'm selecting this for all. Selecting this for all. Okay, so let me quickly open another page and create a job posting, and let's see if we are able to place it right correctly. Okay. So one traveling, yes, no, site, DC, business, standard, continue. So you wanted that field. Here you say respond by date. Okay, now this value has come up over here. I'm just putting in, it's an open text column, so I'm putting it as a text value. Now this is in distribution. Okay, we want to see whether it is appearing in the respond by date, right? So let's quickly create this one. Create schedule. Create schedule required. And submit. Okay, let's go to the details section. Respond by date. Here you go. You have a response by date, and where is our field? It has come down. Okay, so that means my sequence has gone wrong. I'm just withdrawing this again, editing it and resubmitting the same one. So the sequence column where we put in values will define which field it is coming on. Since we don't have too many custom fields over here, it's bit quite difficult to gauge what sequence this field is at. Okay, so let me create a new one quickly. Okay. Sorry for that. So once you have other custom fields coming in, you will start to understand what the sequence is, and it becomes easy to locate the sequence. Otherwise, it's kind of a trial error to find out what that sequence actually is. So I've put in the sequence as 5. First it was put in as 10, but it's still at the bottom. Okay. I'll have to create a new one now. I'm just selecting it to all, adding the field quickly just to save on time. So we have response required after field, which we have to check for. Let me quickly create a new one. User 1, select a field. Yep. July year 1, create response required after. So we have this field coming over here, 112. I'm just want to check where it comes in the detailed tab. This is the old field. Did I miss one? Nothing. Oh, right schedule. Okay, so this template has a red schedule attached. So this field will come based on the sequence that we define. Now, since we are selecting it as top or bottom, it is coming either on the top or the bottom of the section. Okay. So let's see what settings we have selected here. Yeah, we have selected it after and the number of positions field, and that's why it's coming up. So this sequence will define where it will come up. Now we have a lot of basic fieldglass fields available over here, and that's why it's coming up in this sequence. But once we start putting in more custom fields, we'll be able to identify what sequence number we have to put in so that these fields can appear in the in between. But we can do that.
Thanks, Pankaj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions we have more? Okay. So from custom fields, moving on to custom lookups. So custom lookup is it's basically a matrix that we defined. We can define other scenarios. Let's quickly create a new custom lookup and find out what we can do. Okay. So custom lookup can be on these all parameters. It can be this is mostly related to rates. So what we'll do is we will cover this custom lookups when we are looking at the rate scenario. I'll keep this aside right now because we don't have most of the rates or anything that we still have to cover. So the sequence will make a bit of logic to put in. Let's first cover whatever we have done. So I'll take custom lookup a bit later once we are at the rate scenario. Okay, so moving out at custom text. So when you are setting up Fieldglass for various businesses, they might require different terminologies than the Fieldglass terminology to make it relevant for the business. Okay, so now this custom text, as you see, can be set up on languages, okay, but not on business units or other scenarios. So I'm selecting English United States. So you can see the names of the fields available over here, right? So you can see assignments, you can see assignment managers, bid, business unit. So let's say I want to rename business unit as so you need to just look at fields where these are basic SAP custom fields. If you see the both names starting with a capital alphabet is the Fieldglass default field. Rest all fields are not applicable as Fieldglass default fields. These are fields that are working on the backend, which we may not want to change or are used in reports or other functionalities. So it is not going to help. So I want to change the business unit name to, let's say, factory, and like classification or classifications that we had in statement of work, I want to change it as material category. Okay. And I can so on and go forth and say change cost centers to say center and cost centers to sorry. Okay. So you can choose which field names you want to change or want to rather show to business as different. Okay. Now I am selecting this for English United States. Okay. So let's quickly check. I have changed the classification, right? The field remains the same. It's classification only in terms of Fieldglass, but for the user, I am putting it as material category. Okay. Same way, let's say I have to create a job posting. The field name has changed to factory. right? So this is how you rename fieldless default fields to what name the business wants or they want to show. Like we change cost centers to profit centers. You may want to change it to expense centers or whatever they call it in their language or their business language. Okay. Any questions here on custom text? You can set it as per language. This is a global setting. It cannot be set as per business units or other scenarios. So these are the languages available and you can set them as you want. So as I set it for United Kingdoms, let me save one more thing. Okay. And I'm keeping them as default. So these are the fields where you can go in and change the names. Okay. So let's say, for example, I want to change the name in the background check section, which will be visible to the supplier or to the worker. I want to change something in contact us section. So contact us section, I can quickly edit the message that I want to change, right? So here you have a contact us section. Let's see what it's appearing. It says open Fieldglass help center to find document so and so and so and so, right? So for buyer, I am changing it. Contact your local PMO for any queries. I'm saying update, right? So I am adding this over and above this section. And let's quickly add this. So I have done this change for English United Kingdoms. And as we saw previously, let's quickly go back and check what my contact us setting shows. It still shows the old message because my language setting is set on US and not on UK English. I'm going to my preference and changing the language setting to UK. Okay. And let's check what now it shows. Yep. Okay. So this will help. Custom text will help you change details in those fields. This will show what the default value of the field was previously and what value you are trying to put in. So I have put in the assigned value over here. Please contact your local PMO for any queries. I can any point of time once I have created, I can go edit and change any other labels. Like if I want to create a create menu, let's say, for example, for job posting, I want to say this is a contractor request form or a contingent request form. Okay, right. And let's check. I have changed it for which language did I change it for? UK. Let's refresh. Is my language set to UK? Yes, it is. Okay, it's not changed. Okay, this is not the name. This is actually the description that we changed. And this is where it will change. Okay, so these are the fields that you can rename or change for the business to make it easy for them to understand the process. Most businesses here you are going to implement are going to have some or the other kind of process available in their system, and they may want to keep the nomenclature as same as possible to avoid confusion or to ensure smooth transition of the business into a new system, right? So any queries over here? Okay. So this is about custom text, DocuSign eSignature templates. Okay, so we are familiar regarding e-signatures and other cases. Okay, just give me a minute. Yep. So we are familiar with e-signatures. So whenever a document is created, and if you want to get the signatures placed from an authority on the document so that the supplier can get a copy of that purchase order with a digital signature on it, this is the tool that we use. Okay, so this Fieldglass itself does not have a e-signature facility. You have to use some other e-signature tools which are available in the system, and the Fieldglass will help you to add those details and connect that system over here. So you have to define what is the signature order, who is going to be the role, what is the system group, and all. So signatures, digital signatures providers like possibly Adobe or other e-signature tools, we can connect those tools over here. And this is just a template to define the connections. Now the API account ID and everything needs to be added in, which is not connected. This will come up on the company setting where we have to connect it. So I'll show you where it comes up. Right. So this is where we have, it has to be enabled. It is enabled for DocuSign, and we will need those details of the server details or the login credentials to connect it and enable it. Okay, so this is there is a document for this. I'll send you this document. Since we don't have the credentials right now, it might not be possible for us to connect, but these are the two DocuSign and Trustseed are the two servers that Fieldglass can be connected to. Okay, so where this helps is, I can show you where this helps. Let's quickly check if we have a work order. Yeah, we have a work order. So okay, it's okay. So this will help when you enable XML templates. There'll be a printer icon available for here where you can get this document printed in a particular purchase order format and get that e-signature placed on it. So we'll come to that as well. Okay, I'll share the DocuSign template. It is just a one-time integration. Once it is done, there is no changes required to it. Once the template is defined, there's nothing to be done. It is just a connection to be made between the e-signature server that you are going to use. Okay.
Pankaj?
Yes.
We can enable it here, right? As part of this instance.
It is enabled here, but we will need a DocuSign login credential to connect those details. The API account ID and other things.
Do we have any testing credentials or something? Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll share the document which will help you, understand how it is to connect. Yeah, it's basically just adding the values in there and it will start working.
Got it. A document would really help.
Yep. I'll pull it out and I'll share it across. Sure.
Thank you.
So invoice.
Pankaj, question here is, what does this signing group mean?
So
something we noticed.
So let's say, for example, you check up a DocuSign e-signature, right? So e-signatures are assigned to signatory authorities, and those authorities might have certain financial limit beyond which they or a financial cap in which they are required to sign. Beyond that cap, there is some other authority sitting on the top, right? So these groups will define which authority this will go to, or in what case this authority will go to, right? So you have to define the group ID. You define the signing order, like in the approval group, remember we defined order. The first level will be the HR, the second level will be the finance person, the third level will be, say, supply management person, right? So same way
where will we do this grouping? Where will we do this grouping? Here or?
No, the grouping will happen in the group sign, in the DocuSign system. and you will just be adding IDs over here, right?
Okay.
You define the signing sequence. Let's say, for example, an HR team might have a different group ID. Within that group ID, they might have a hierarchy. Like an executive might have a lower level, then the manager, then the senior manager, and then the general manager. In the same way, finance might have a different group ID, right? But here, what is happening is we are seeing the first person who's going to approve is the HR. So we define the group ID and the recipient role. Now, recipient role is the role that we have in Fieldglass. Then you define the second after him who is going to sign might be the finance person, might be the finance person might be a finance manager based on the budget. Then you can define possibly the third person might be a supply chain manager, and this will come up on the work order or the purchase orders that the suppliers are trying to
So
download.
this signing group or the group ID value or information will come from the DocuSign side, right?
Yes,
This is
yes,
not,
yes.
okay. Okay.
This is not Fieldglass details. This is just where we fill in the details and connect it. So it goes back to the DocuSign server to find out who that individual is and get those signatures sourced.
Okay. And the API account ID is also will be shared by the DocuSign.
DocuSign.
Okay.
Yes, yes. This will be kind of an integration setup between Fieldglass and a DocuSign server.
Okay.
So,
generally, sorry,
yeah.
it will be only one server that will be used by all the clients, or is it specific to client?
It might be specific to clients. Let's say, for example, because of the data privacy rules, countries might have different servers because they are required to retain data in their respective region. So they might have different servers. So we will have to create those servers and then define which group is going to use what.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Pankaj, one more question, please. So, are we covering this DocuSign in Configuration Manager? I just want to know how the requests and responses are captured.
I will try and cover it as much as possible. Since we don't have a sample server, it might not be possible, but at least from the Fieldglass and how it works, we'll try and cover it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Invoice tax information. Okay. Any more queries you have regarding DocuSign before we move ahead? Or any of the previous questions if I have missed on answering any?
Do we have a maximum limit on the number of recipients?
In terms of recipients, in terms of DocuSign, you're asking?
Yes, DocuSign, like number of people who has to.
Usually, what happens is what documents you sign is you maximum place an e-signature on a work order or a purchase order that has been sent to the supplier. And in most organizations, it is someone from finance and someone from supply management whose signature are placed on, because they are the authorities who have authority to issue a purchase order, right? So maximum times it's going to be 1 or 2 signatures. It's not going to be more than that. It might be scenarios where business might have some exceptional case because of, say, a very high budget PO. They might require a third signature of the business head or the CEO or CFO or someone. So in that case, you might get a third signature, but it's going to be hardly 1 or 2 signatures per document. See, simply put, DocuSign signature is nothing but a e-signature you see on your Form 16s and on your payment slip signed by your finance controller and those kind of signatures. It's just going to put a tick mark on it. That's it, nothing else. Right. So moving ahead to invoice tax informations, let's create a new one. So invoice tax information is basically adding the tax labels, the tax values for a particular invoice. We can define, let's say, for example, let's take India example. We have a CGST, say 5%. Just using this as the code and same as, sorry. Tax label ID, I'm defining it as the same. Tax label value I'm putting is as 5%. Address, this can be the site address. Okay. whatever region. I'll just quickly select India. It becomes easy for us to explain and understand as well. We have cities here from India. Yeah. Okay, and I'm assigning this tax label to particular sites. So since this is for India, I would want it to be assigned to India sites. Okay, so where this comes up. Okay, so this comes up when we are checking on the suppliers. Sorry, not on suppliers. It will come on the invoice. Do we have an invoice sample available to check? Yes, we have. This will not be for India site, but when we kind of take a print of this invoice, so this information will be displayed typically same way as we see our regular invoices that come up with all that tax information displayed on it. Okay, and this will be for the print purpose. Let me quickly check if it is coming up over here. No, this is a different site, so this will not come up, but this is where the tax information will be displayed once we start selecting the sites and other details. So what I'll do is when we are testing the invoice purpose, for that I'll keep the tax information ready, and we will check this when we are running a live test end to end. Okay, so any questions over here right now? Okay.
No, Pankaj.
Yeah, thank you. So moving ahead to job codes. Job codes is nothing but your organization might have some kind of job evaluation done for every job. So there is a job catalog. Every organization has its own job catalog. Like for example, a software engineer is required to have this kind of an education or this kind of a skill set, and he's to be at this grade, and this is what his salary range can be. All that details, and every job has a code assigned to it. It can be a 6-digit or a 8-digit code depending on the size of the organization and the number of jobs that an organization has. Okay, this is something similar to a product catalog that we see. You see a product number. If you see an IKEA catalog, you will see a product number against every product, and then you will see the description, the detail of the product, then the name of the product, description, photos, and everything. And right. So this is something same. Okay, so most organizations, what they do is they create the job posting templates for contingents as well as the SOW worker roles, and also on the profile workers they create this replica of their on-roll jobs. So software engineer or someone who is working for an organization, let's say ABC, and we are hiring a contingent who's going to have a similar kind of a job role. The salaries might vary because he's a contingent, but the job description might remain the same. The scope might remain a bit smaller, but the job code remains the same. Okay, the only purpose for job codes here is when you are gonna connect Fieldglass with say a success factors or some HR systems, when something is going to be sourced from success factors, like a position ID is going to be sourced from there, or you want to upload the contingent data back to success factors to have an holistic picture of the organization of the workers available. That's where these job codes will come handy. In terms of Fieldglass, these job codes will have absolute no value because it will not have any impact on any rates. You maintain this value, you don't maintain this value, it's not going to be any importance. But since Fieldglass is an external workforce management tool, and most MNCs connected with their internal manpower management tool, so they can keep a track of their entire workforce. from top to grassroots. That's where job codes act as a connecting parameter, so that they can connect or they can validate the job templates with the job codes. So when we create a job code, let's say for example I create a job code, say 1234, and put in the name that it is for an IT, let's say an IT support. I put in the description of the job, I create it. Okay, now where this job code will be used is, you can see I have to add that job code to the job posting templates. I can define checklist. If a person is from an IT support, then what all things need to be added to that individual. I can define offboarding activity checklist. I can define SOW worker rules. So let's quickly go to a job posting template and attach it. So I can't attach it from here, but where I can attach it from is I have to open a job posting template and fill in that value over there to connect this. Okay. So let's quickly. Yes.
Pankaj?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, right? So there will be another HR system, the master HR
Yes.
system where the data is maintained. So then, if I think from that angle, generally, we will have job family group. Under that, there will be a job family, and then under job
Correct.
family, we'll have job profile, and job profile
Correct.
will have its own code.
Right. Right.
So that's
So
the
that is
structure
nothing but
where
job.
the
Correct. So the
but here,
specific identifier for that one
mhm,
job that you have,
mhm,
which you are calling as job code, is nothing
profile.
but job code in Fieldglass.
Okay, but if I that's a hierarchical structure that I'm talking about.
Right.
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 So if I want to maintain the same hierarchy here in Fieldglass,
Mhm.
is it possible?
See, in Fieldglass, you cannot maintain that hierarchy. Okay, because Fieldglass does not have that hierarchy mechanism, even in terms of an organization where you have an organization structure where you have a department head, then line of managers, then
Correct.
people reporting into them. Even that hierarchy cannot be maintained in, like what we call as an organization structure. Even that cannot be maintained in Fieldglass. So for all those hierarchy, Fieldglass depends on those tools. It will be either a success factor or an SAP HR or an SAP HCM who is going to provide those details to Fieldglass. Right?
Okay, so if I understand correct, Fieldglass does not have any hierarchical structure for any of their objects. Is my
No, it
statement
does not
correct?
have an hierarchical structure for their objects. It does not have a mechanism to maintain that hierarchical structure. It can maintain a very basic level hierarchy. Like, for example, if I am the user, who's going to be my first line manager, who's going to be my second line manager. That's it.
Okay.
It will not go beyond that. So if
Mm-hmm.
that is basically for the escalation matrix and other things. And even in this case, someone will have to inform him that for Pankaj, ABC is the first line manager and XYZ is the second line manager.
Second line manager.
Right?
Okay.
So it will not connect automatically somewhere like our SAP and others are done. Okay. So most this connects will come from the HR system which are available. And that is again, if business wants to use it, like you can see the job code is optional. I can leave it blank also, or I can select whatever I want. Right. So we created a job code and we selected one on the template. Right. So this is how the job codes work. These are basically, connecting factors. So if you are connecting with some HR system, you want that organization structure also be reflecting in Fieldglass, then you may have to do these things, because what happens is, for example, if you're connected with SuccessFactor and someone sitting at a CEO level might want to see a breakup of what kind of jobs are available in my organization or what kind of jobs are available in a particular region and how that split is made of. So how you pull out that report is this data is linked to success factors, and success factor is giving that report based on these job codes. Right. So this is about job codes. Any questions here?
So Pankaj, I think we can maintain hierarchy in business unit, like
Business unit hierarchies can be maintained, but that is again, a very basic level hierarchy. Like you will have a business unit, then you can have a parent business unit, and then you can have child business units under that. A hierarchy can be maintained in terms of cost center, like which is going to be the original cost center if there are any sub cost centers or task codes and other things. But in terms of resources, like an org structure, that will still come. Like even that business hierarchy will come in from your SAP Finance, or some other system will define it. It will not be Fieldglass will be defining it. Fieldglass will be just sourcing it from somewhere and just keeping it for the purpose.
Yes, yes. Anyhow, master data will come from different.
Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions on job code or the topics that we covered till now?
Pankaj, if you want, we can have a break also for 5 minutes or 10. Okay.
Sure, I'm okay with it. We can take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah, probably 10 minutes. We can take 10:43. Let's connect at 10:55 again.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we completed job codes and from the configurations tab, sorry, my screen is visible to all, right?
Yes.
So we completed from advisors, category, classifications, contextual help, custom fields, custom lookups we'll be covering later when we come to rates, custom text, DocuSign eSignature templates, and invoice tax informations. Okay. We completed job codes as well. So any questions till now you have regarding any of these points? You want me to go back and explain again or something like that? Please let me know. Else we can just move forward. Okay. Sure. Then moving forward to label set. Okay. So label set is something as we showed in the custom text field. These are the Fieldglass specific fields in the various languages, and if we want, we can change those field names or we can tag those labels to them. Like let's say the job posting. Okay. This is again, let me quickly create a new one. Okay. So I'm selecting contingent, saying adding to it, and I can define the types of contingents that I want. So this contingent types will be defined on the templates, and then I can define what names should appear for this fields. So these are standard Fieldglass names, as we tried as we showed in the custom labels, but this is another case where we can define them specifically category wise. So let's say, for example, if I have to change job postings,
What's the difference, Gajir, like with this level set or with the custom text?
so with this custom text, you can define them on the category of workers, whereas in the first thing we were defining it at a global level. So like we say here, we have the contingent type label that we can define to. So if you define the contingent type, let's quickly go to the contingent type option and we can see that. Okay. Right. So we have an IT consulting. I'll not create a new one. For the existing one, I can quickly. So here we have a label set attached to it, right? It is attached as default. Now I'm saying I want to attach the contingent label set. Okay. And then I'm defining the name. So this is how you can change the set of labels for a specific group of contingents, which we can define as per region or as per a business code, right? Let's say, for example, for India, I'm creating a new contingent. IT consulting is a contingent set I'm going to use only for India. I'm not going to use it for Germany. And I need some different set of names to be available for India, because India business has certain different nomenclature. So I can create a edit label set for only that type, and I can define that it over there. And I can have different contingent types created. Like for example, if I have IT consulting, let's create something for finance contingent, and I can define I want this. If anybody is selecting this label type, then he should be able to see a different set of names for them. Okay, so this contingent types are selected on job posting templates. Same happens for SOWs as well. So if I go back and select any of the job posting templates, let's quickly just select one of the job posting template, and I have a contingent type that I can select over there. I have this contingent type defined. So if I'm creating templates for USA or for UK and I want a separate naming for their fields only for that particular region or only for a particular contingent type, I can do that. So the same region might have multiple contingent types. Like I might have something as a full-time contingent, I might have something as a part-time contingent, but I want the field names to appear as different. Okay, but the one that we saw in custom text is a universal one, right? Where we can use,
Yes, got it.
yeah, that's a global setting, but this is more of a local setting. You can control it better than that one. Okay, so that's what label set is about. Okay, any questions over here? Okay, so then we have list views. So these are specifically views defined. Let's say, for example, if I have a PMO dashboard, then I can quickly go in and check what all should be available for that view. You are defining a view for, let's quickly check a home page view. So job posting template view, what all is visible for us, whether it is default or not. I can add in fields that I want to view in this job posting details. I can quickly look for it. Let's say I want a category, a job code, and a labor type available. I can add to it. This is available. I can just go back. This has been saved, and let me just quickly go back to admin's configurations and go back to a job posting template. Right, I have this sections coming over here. Right, so this is how we define a view. When you go to a particular menu, you want certain things to be visible, or let's say I don't want to see the parent template ID, the parent template, or pre-qualify or service type I don't want to see. I can just quickly go back to the view type and change that view. I don't want parent template. I don't want labor type, and I don't want parent ID to be visible. Let's go back. If I refresh this page, my view changed. Right, so this is where you define the views for all the drop downs. Any questions on the views? So simply put, this is all the tables that are available in Fieldglass on whichever form they are visible to you, and you're just defining what all columns should be visible in that table in the UI. Okay, so going forward to master data. So these are certain data fields that we can add on at various levels. Like for example, you want a role who has visibility to this data. We can have this data available for them. We can define what kind of data this is. Now this data is nothing but all the master data fields which are available with business, but they are not Fieldglass specific. We can put in those. Let's quickly define one. I'll put in the hiring manager. I want the data type This is not, I'm not putting it as encrypted. Allow attachments to be included. I'm saying yes, and I can define the pick list that I want. Whether it's going to be yes, no. I have to put in a name for this. We can put in the descriptions as we saw for the custom fields, or if you want to put in certain synopsis in which cases this is to be used or when it is to be used and all. We can put this whether it is to be considered mandatory on submission or before approval of the document. I'm not putting it as mandatory right now. I am saying this is to be entered by the buyer. So whether this will be visible to supplier or not is something that I can choose, which we can do in most of the custom field scenarios. This is nothing but we are adding another custom field which is tagged as a master data. Okay, and I can define the categories to which this will be applicable. Okay. Let me quickly go to the categories and add it. Okay, all those categories. Yay, category. Why is it not allowing me to add? Please ensure the referred items in the category are changed to the one. Okay, I'm not able to add category over here. Let me look around for this and I'll come back to you for this tomorrow with the example and with the solution. So something I have missed, I need to configure something. So I'll look into this and I'll come back to you on this. So I'm keeping category aside right now.
In category, you have to create a new category with master data.
Yep, I am looking at that. But
The model is job posting type. It should be master data. No, the model should be master data type. I have created one.
Yep.
MD.
Thank you for that. And if I have to define any subcategory, let me check if it's there. Nothing. Okay. It encrypted now. Okay. This has been done. So we have defined the user required as a data. We have defined the category. We have defined this on supplier qualifications. Okay, I'll have to do some setup for this. This is for supplier qualifications. So let me do a end-to-end setup for this, and I'll run this demo across with you guys for tomorrow. So we'll show you what this field does and how it is to be configured. There are certain other configurations also to be done. Since we don't have a supplier configuration qualification right now, I may not be able to show it, but let me set it up and come back to you. Okay, so I'll take this topic tomorrow again. Master data, I'm keeping it aside for now. Moving on to the pick lists. Okay, so we saw a couple of pick lists when we were looking at the custom field scenarios. So this is where you will find all the pick lists that are created in the system. So let's quickly create a pick list and find out how we can use it. So let's say test pick list. Okay. So there are various kind of pick lists that we can create. Account category pick list, Ariba realm ID pick lists, buyer and an ID pick list. So most of these are related to system integrations. So wherever this integrations will fall into picture, you can just use those options and either add those values or connect this field to the integration. So those values are uploaded by the integration scenario. So let's quickly check the custom pick list that you will have to create manually. So we have a custom field source. Now the custom field source pick list we can create when we want the pick list to refer back to some of the fields. Okay, so it is whether these are the fields that are available right now in the system. So this kind of connects back to those fields. We can use this pick list when we are gonna set certain rules, right? If this value is selected, then this field should be available. Let's say, for example, active users pick list with display names only. Okay, so you can create such kind of a pick list, especially when we are trying to create a custom field which says that I want who is going to be, let's say, a compliance owner for this document. Okay, so in that case, what we do is we create those pick lists on terms of user role with display names only. So what will happen is I'll select a user role, let's say a human resource person, and I will say okay, and just add this. So what all values will come into this pick list is if we have a user role created for human resources. I don't have the user role option available over here, but there is a user role option available over here in which you create various user roles. We will have to create a user role which is by the name of human resources, and all those individuals who have those roles assigned will start appearing in this pick list. So when I create a custom field, when I say select, let's quickly go back to a custom field and I'll show you how we formulate that. So let's say I create a pick list on, not on job code, job posting. HR manager. Okay. And I am saying it should be user defined pick list. Sorry. A company predefined pick list, and it should be here. Select HR manager. So I have the list over here. Okay. And I'm saying it is to be entered by all the roles, and I'm just adding this field right now over here. I missed on one setting quickly. Let me do that so that it becomes eligible to all. It's all template. So there will be scenarios when there are certain approval groups required specifically by business when they ask that if a contingent is hired for a particular department, let's say for finance, it should go to XYZ person for that requester, like where you can see HR advisor French. So if you see in the pick list, we didn't populate any values. If we come back to the pick list that we have, we don't have any values populated over there, but the system will pick those values directly based on the roles assigned to it. It will show, we are asking the system to show us whether it has to see, there is no values attached over here, but still I can see values available for me, right? So this is how these pick lists work. This can be used when you want to add particular approval groups. Like let's say, for example, if I want this HR manager to approve this, so what I can do is I can quickly go to the approval group. This is for US, and I can add an approval group there. Add level there saying this needs to be approved by this individual, right? So we created that custom field. We attached that pick list where the system is pulling in names from the user list based on the roles, and I'm setting it for approval. So once I set it for approval, whoever I'm choosing in the list in the custom field, this document will be sent to that person for approval at this level. Okay, so these are some of the uses for this pick list. So let's any questions on this pick list type that we are seeing just now, which is custom field source. Okay, so let's create another pick list. I'm selecting a custom field pick list. Here you can add custom values. So let's say you have some standard values, might have 10, 15 or 20 values that you want to add into pick list. You can just add those values over here and say add. This pick list gets saved, and then you need to attach this pick list to a custom field so that you can use it same way like we did for the example that I just showed. Okay, so this is this is for adding custom field pick lists. Custom field segmented pick lists. Now this is kind of a tricky thing. What custom field segment pick lists are is you might have seen examples where you select a value in one dropdown, and based on that value a second dropdown is activated, right? And it shows a different set of values every time. So this is how that is done. This is a custom field segmented pick list. So what we have to do is we have to select how many segments this pick list is going to have. You can have maximum up to 10 segments. So let's quickly select two segments. I am saying say a value A, value 1 and value 2. Okay. Autofill first segment value with a native field value. If I'm connecting it, that's okay. If I'm not connecting, I can say no. I'm right now saying as no because this is just a test field. Okay. Get items. Okay. Okay, active legal entity and site. Segmented pick list. To delimiter. Yes. So now I have this pick list created. So there are two scenarios where you can upload values to this pick list. Either you can add them manually by saying edit pick list and add the values to this, or you can do a bulk upload. When you do a bulk upload, you have to use this separator to provide the values in the Excel file. So I'll show that when we come to upload data and download data integration part. Okay. So right now I'm just quickly creating some values so that we know how this works. Okay. Okay. So I've just randomly created some values available. I'm updating this as a pick list. Okay. So let's quickly go back and create a custom field which we can use here for segmented pick list. I'm creating that custom field on the job posting template so we don't waste too much of time into this. Okay. I'm renaming the field as segmented picklist. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a segmented picklist. Okay, I have created this, which is available for me. Okay, I'm not making it mandatory, but I'm making it effective to all the templates and business sites and labor sites. Okay, so let's see how it works. We have created it. Quickly create a new job posting. Okay, and we have the segmented picklist. So if I select value 1A, it will just show me 2 values. And same way, if I select value B, it will show me the rest 2 values. Okay, now which are the scenarios you can use this? So you can use this when there are certain approval mechanisms defined based on say a task code or a cost center or a budget. So you can define those values. This pick list can be up to 10 sub pick list creating, so up to 10 segments. We usually use it in case of creating purchase orders where we want to have multiple codes attached and want to send that value as one value to, say, let's say, for example, SAP for generating the PO. So it can be like the vendor code. It can be vendor code plus your task code or expense code or cost center or some other codes that SAP might require. You can create those as segmented checklists. And once you use this, this is the string value that will be sent to SAP via integration. Okay, so then SAP needs to use those string values and use it, right? While creating POs, there are a couple of purchase organizations, then there is a sub purchase organization, then there might be a buyer value, and there might be other values. You can use this pick list items over there. Okay, so this actually helps governing which value is selected, and it keeps on defining or sub-defining the values. Okay, any queries in segmented pick lists? Okay, so we have seen two pick lists, three pick lists actually. The segmented, we have seen custom field source pick list, custom field pick list, custom field and custom field segmented pick list. Now let's go to an integration pick list or an integration segmented pick list. Now both these pick lists are where the values in the pick list are filled by an integration. So there is an integration which is gonna send this data back to us, and we are gonna that value in the pick list is gonna be filled by that integration. Okay, so we can define that pick list, and this will work same way as a custom field pick list or a custom field segmented pick list works. Only difference here is the values would be filled in by the integration, and then we can just it will not allow. Let's quickly define one here. So you are aware how it works. Value 1, value 2. Right now, when I created integration segmented pick list, you see I don't have an option to add values to the pick list. Right, this is the only difference in how those two function. The custom segmented pick list and an integration pick list. Same way, that's the only difference between the integration pick list and the custom field pick list. Rest all functions are the same. Okay, any questions on the types that we have?
Pankaj, like in which all cases this integration picklist comes into place, like any specific cases wherein this is being used?
Yes. So integration segmented pick list or integration pick list can be used in the accounting section, where, as I said, for generating a PO, you may require certain material categories, or you may require certain task codes or certain expense codes, which are to be sent from Fieldglass to SAP so that the PO can be generated. So where do you get those categories from? So there you will have to establish an integration between SAP FICO to pull those values into this pick list. So that is where you will establish this pick list. And when this integration segmented pick list or integration pick list is established, whatever values are available in the dropdown will necessarily come from that integration. Now that integration can refresh on a regular basis, it can refresh on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or a 6 monthly basis, whatever you configure it to do, right? But this will be the values which we are going to use, are going to be sourced from some other system. If you are putting those values on your own, or business is providing those values, then we can just quickly use a custom field pick list and a custom field segmented pick list, right? Even if you are going to pull integration values, you can still select these two options. It is nothing like that, that for an integration you need to select only these two options. Only flexibility that you get in a custom field segmented pick list is you can add the values manually as well, right? And via integration as well. But in an integration segmented pick list, those values to that pick list can be added or removed only via an integration.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any more questions we have about pick lists? Okay, great. So should we move ahead to the next point? Okay.
Yes.
So questions. Questions is, as the name suggests, you can define certain questions. Let's say for supplier qualification or wizard or decision form. Let's select a supplier qualification. Okay. So you can define a question, right? When or we can say size of supplier. Okay. We can put in the description for the buyer as to you can put in the description for buyer as to why this question is required, or you can put in the description for the supplier as to why this question required in the synopsis. You can define whether this question is mandatory, yes, no. Answer type, since I'm asking the workforce strength, I'm asking it to put it as a text. Repeat question for each combination, so it can reshuffle the questions automatically. So we can define whether this question can be should be repeated, allow attachments to be included, and exclude from scoring. So this is basically nothing but a kind of a questionnaire that we are creating, right? So I'm defining just one question over here. Same way I can define, say, about 100 questions for that module, and I can use it. I can define it to the category that we create. We'll have to create that category for questions over there. And this questionnaire we can put up, let's say, either in a decision making form where they are required to make a decision. Okay, like do you require contingent full-time or part-time, right? And I can define the question, say full-time, and add another value saying part-time. Okay, I can define a core, let's say 5, or let's say 2, and here 4. Does this answer requires an approval? So we can define if this answer requires an approval. So I can say yes, this answer requires an approval. If full-time, if a manager says in a decision making form, I want a full-time person, then I will have to say that this answer requires an approval from his manager. So if we make a decision form, right? So MC decision form is here. Let's have a classification here and apply. Oh, I need to meet. Okay. So what I'll do, you understand the questions piece, right? I'm just creating the questions that I can use in decision making forms or in taking feedbacks about the supplier. I'm kind of creating questionnaire here. Okay. So what I would request you guys to do is you create a questionnaire. It can be for a supplier qualification or from a decision making form, right? And what we can do is once you have those questionnaires created, we can formulate a questionnaire, a user decision form, or a supplier qualification form, and we'll see how it works, right? Does this way works for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's possibly create questionnaires in decision form, in supplier qualification, in wizards, and I'll show you how to use them to zero in down on selecting a particular job posting template, or selecting a particular supplier, or giving a feedback about a supplier, and how the ratings can be evaluated for that supplier. So supplier qualification is specifically used when we register a supplier. So we will create this qualification questionnaire. We want just a couple of questions, let's say 4 or 5 questions. So we'll define a supplier qualification questionnaire, and I'll show you how that questionnaire will work when we are registering a supplier. We'll create a decision form, let's say 4 or 5 questions, and we'll quickly create a decision form, and we'll find out how the decision form works to identify which SOW template is to be used, or which contingent template is to be used. Okay, so questions list is where we basically create the questions. That's how it's going to work. We have only 3 modules that you can create questions for. So I would request you guys to create at least 4 or 5 questions each, and then we can work together and build a decision making form that will make it easy for you also to understand. Okay, so any questions still here? Okay, so moving on, reasons. So reasons are nothing but when you approve or reject a work order, or approve or reject a document, it will ask you the reason for it, the reason for approval, or the reason for rejection, or what reason you are giving, right? So those reasons are to be created in the system. So it can be anything. It can be for absence. Let's say I want a job posting. Okay, for what? I want to close a job posting. Let's say I want to close a job posting because I am saying manpower budget not approved. Okay, and what I'm giving is a negative rating. So why I'm giving a negative rating is this is a negative answer, right? Since my budget was not approved, so I'm setting it as a negative, right? So this is a rejection reason that we have created quickly. Now let's go and see. Let me quickly. I have a job posting template. Approval is paused. Let me. I can see if I can restart it. No, I can't restart it. Let me see if I have something that I can reject. That's okay, not an issue. Let me quickly create one and reject one. That's absolutely fine. Okay, continue. And let me check the approval group if we have an okay, so this needs approval. It's gone for an approval. Let's quickly reject it and check if our reason appears over there. Okay, so I hit reject, and this is where the reason will come. Missing or incorrect information. This is not coming in. Yep, I'm using an old one. It's still coming in, is not coming, but this is where the reason will come in. Okay, and then the user can mention his comment why he has rejected. Reject it. And if we go to approval audit trail, this reason should be visible, right? So this is where we define the reasons. Now, why our reason didn't come in? Oh, we put it on job posting closure. We didn't put it on reject. My mistake. So I have to say rejected and put on approved. The positive negative sign is only coming in when I'm closing the job posting. That means my requirement has been completely satisfied, and that's why I am closing it. And that's when it will ask for a feedback, whether it was positive or whether it was negative, right? And that's where the negativity factor comes in, based on which business can pull out report and get supplier feedbacks as well. So let's go back and check if our reason is visible now that I have corrected my mistake. Yep, the same one, reject. There you go. Right? Manpower budget not approved, and I'm just sending it reject. I'm not putting in any comment right now. So just again, right here, I can see my document has been rejected twice. You can go and see what was the previous reason. You can go and see what is the current reason. Okay. Just since we are here, I'm just showing this quick options, but this is how reasons can be configured. Okay. And when you set up a system first time, you may have to configure the reasons for all the dropdowns. Otherwise, without a reason, Fieldglass will not allow a rejection or an acceptance wherever it is asking for those reasons. So basic reasons are already created in Fieldglass. Other than that, if you want to create any new reasons, you can just go select the module and define the reason. Like for example, work order, whether I want to close the work order, I want to reject the contract, rejected, withdraw on the work order, and then accordingly I can just put in the values over there and save it. Even for the suppliers, suppliers might for a new setup of business, a supplier might come back with a query saying I'm not able to reject it. The only reason he is not able to reject is because the supplier has not defined any reasons in his system. So you may have to send him a quick document or something when you're implementing for a new buyer, saying that you need to share this with your suppliers and ask them to set up a reason for it. Okay, so are we clear about the reasons? Yeah. So any questions till now? So we just have another 10-15 minutes. So let's moving forward. We have covered approval rules. This is the same thing that I showed you yesterday. So just as a suggestion came in, I would request you guys to create an approval rule with, let's say, a condition where if a business unit is say France, and just say, let's say if the business unit is France, it should go to approval to the person whose name is mentioned in the select HR field. Okay. You've got my question. You've got my question. I want you all to create a approval rule which says when the business unit is selected as France, then the approval should be sent to the person in select HR custom field. Okay, you can just create those approval rules possibly with your names, and I can check them say before tomorrow's session. And if you have any queries, if you're not able to see if it's working or if it's not working, we can test it when we are running it end to end, right? So till then, you guys just get a hands-on for creating the approval rules, because we have created an approval rule. I've explained the approval rules yesterday. And also I would like you to create an approval group using those approval rules. Okay. So just select any country you want, be it France, be it India, be it US, be it Germany, whatever, and or business unit. and just put a condition that if this business unit is there, only then it should go to approval to this individual. So we will activate and deactivate those approval groups and quickly check if that approval group works based on your rules. Okay. Any questions you have on approval groups? Okay. So hope you're clear with the two assignments that I have just shared. One is creating questions for the job posting and for the supplier feedback. And the second is creating an approval rule and approval groups, conditioning in such a way. If you want, you can go ahead and create your own custom field. I'm absolutely okay with that. You can create an own custom field, own pick list, and define the rule that if a particular value is selected in that pick list, only then it should go to approval to a particular role. And let's see how it works. Sure. So going forward, yeah. So going forward to segmented object details lists. Okay. So these are again documents that we can create and we can show where these documents want. Okay, this is something similar to the custom field segmented list. Okay. So let's create one quickly. This is on the only on the custom cost center. Okay. I don't want this to be available to the supplier. I'm saying this is for two segments. Segment when task code. Okay, so I need to create certain pick list. Right now I'm putting it as text, putting it as mandatory, say expense code. Just putting it on job posting, make it mandatory over there. Right? Okay, so let's have the cost centers for which we want it. We have one cost center. It's made mandatory for all currencies. So there we go. We have the segmented object details available. Okay, so this is where you can flash the details and add the values over there. So which task code I want to use for this cost center is, let's say I'm showing. Okay, and I'm updating it. So this value will be available over here. Okay, so this feature will be useful for you guys when you are having an integration in place with SAP, and when we want to add task codes and expense codes to timesheets and the invoices and the expense sheets that are submitted by the contingents. Okay, so we may have to let's say if it's a project, we may have to assign a particular task code which is related to project, and so that the correct budget is hit. Okay, right now we just created a text field, but usually we would have created a custom field or a segmented pick list in this scenario where we are connecting it to a where we are connecting this to the cost center drop down, the task code drop down, or same way we connected the pick list to the user roles. Okay, this is a similar feature, and this will not have an impact on the calculations, but this will keep on appearing over there for the users further ahead. So let's, if I push this forward, let's quickly do that so you can see how it looks. Okay. Just give it a minute. Yeah. So when we check this, you can see the task codes and the project codes that needs to be used. So this will be visible for them on the documents, on the work orders, on everywhere. So we can ensure that they use the correct task codes or expense codes wherever required. So you can use this for budget, monitoring the budget or keeping those details available. This is a cost center related field. Okay. You can create this for contingent, for services, or you can use the same for both. This is just like a custom field, but it is getting created only specifically to the cost center module, so you can share information related to cost. Any questions on this?
So is it like can be created in the cost center module itself?
No, this is basically dependent on the cost center module. You will have a lot of values in the cost center. You will have the task codes created. You will have the expense codes created, and this is, you can make this field as a mandatory or an optional scenario. Like, you know, certain task codes or certain expense codes would be used specifically when charging an interdepartmental cost or specifically charging against a project. And you want to ensure that all the workers use those for that purpose only. So you can
What's
just
the benefit basically using of it? Like, let's say there's a business scenario where we can use this, like instead of using a segmented pick list, going with the segment
Frank,
logic.
to be frank, I have not seen this used in business scenarios that I have been exposed to. So I'll dig out some examples and share with you along with the documentation piece, so that will help you understand clearly. Sure. Any other questions you have? Okay. So XSL templates. Now, what is an XSL template? This is XSL templates can be built. It will help you kind of giving buttons on the templates. Like for example, buyer SOW print. Okay, so if I quickly open this, this is nothing but your XSL code. Okay, you will need to know the XSL language, and you can define this code accordingly and just upload that template over here. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so I want, let's say, for example, either an activity item or an invoice, or let's say simply I want to print a statement of work. Okay, when I print a statement of work, say India SOW print, I'll have to create an XSL template and upload it over here, define what language it has to be effective on, time zone, date format, time format, and number format. Now, why all this? I'll show you why all this. Okay, so when I add this, although I don't have a template attached to it, but if I add this, let's see, I'll use the same template that we just downloaded. Okay, I have created this. If we have, let's quickly view. So this is enabled. Yeah, right. So this is how the print will look like. So XSL templates can be used to create print buttons or to generate documents on SOWs or on activity items. So I'll explain you on the statement of work. Let's say, for example, we don't have a print button over here. Let me quickly open a statement of work. Let's see if we have a sample in here. Yeah, we have a sample in here. Pending approval. That's okay. Okay. So what happens in statement of works is the user or the business might want or the supplier might want to take a print of this document for his internal record or to use as a particular document in his filing or for his audit purpose or for whatever reasons. Okay. So when they want to print that document, they want only particular information to be shown on this. If I print this right now, just by hitting Control P, it will show me all of this. They set up a field glass page and this and that and everything. And I don't want this to print in that way. And it will not show the entire SOW, right? It will not show the characteristics. It will not show a summary and other details that are available. But I want this to be available in there. Now, this is where the XSL template comes into picture. Once you create that XSL template and you say this as print option and you enable this, there will be a print button available over here once this is approved. And once you click on that print button, it will make the document in the format that the XSL template defines. Okay. For this, you will require someone who is aware of the XML coding, the XSL coding scenario. So you will have to tell them what fields needs to be pulled in and how, and that's how the coding needs to be done. This is a feature that Fieldglass provides. It's kind of a macros that we use in Excel or in VB. It's something similar. It just collates information from the document and gives you in a format that you wish to show it. Right. So most businesses might, especially wherever we implement or I have done implementations, we have asked for XML coders to work with business and find out the look or the data that they want to show up and get that template done and upload this template over here and get this activated. So the button can be visible to the user and they can then use it. Now we are showing United States over here. Let me quickly check what my language is set to. Yep, it's set to UK. So the question would be why the printer button is not visible. And this is how it comes. Right. So this is what XSL template will help do. So we have just used the existing template and added it over here. This is a baseline template. Anyone who knows an XSL coding scenario can use this baseline, make the modifications and upload it back and create one. Do we have anyone on the team who is aware of this coding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so you if you can code, you can try using this one, buyer SOW print. You can just click on it and download the XSL template and add in a couple of fields and try and change the look that this is showing right now and just add it back, and then possibly tomorrow we can reprint it and find out how it works.
okay, where the coding has to happen. Okay, but, sorry,
Yeah,
I just
so
joined 5 minutes back. I was in another call, actually.
that's okay, not an issue. So you have to come to admin page, the XSL template,
XSL template
configuration.
Okay.
You have the baseline templates available at the bottom. You can see the SOW print one. Now, because we have a SOW available, you can just click on this and download the XSL.
Okay.
Modify the code as required, as whatever changes you wish to do, and just come back over here, open this, edit,
okay,
and upload it over here.
Upload the new one. Okay.
Yes, and update. So if you can do that today, possibly we can show the entire team how the print has changed. We have seen about the print looks today.
Got it.
Yep.
We'll have a look, definitely. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. So that really helps. Okay, so any we have just a couple of minutes to 12, so I will just keep the session open and will not start the topic in a hurry further. So let me know if you guys have any questions on any of the things that we covered today or something that we covered yesterday, or any questions on the assignments that we shared across.
Pankaj, this is Radha.
Yes.
One quick.
Yes.
So I'll take the baseline template, the Excel baseline template, and I would want to add 5 fields. For example, 3 would be the fields which are already there, like the standard fields, and 2 custom fields.
You can do that.
Yeah, I would want to know what are the XML code for those specific fields and where can I find it?
Okay, so frankly speaking, I'm not very adverse with the XML code myself, so would be a really tight question for me, but let me find out if I can pull out some references for it and share it across with you guys. Yep.
Thanks, Pankaj.
This Excel looks a little different actually. I'll give it a try actually.
Sure.
Can you right click and do a view source inside the browser? View
page source. Yeah.
Okay, at least This is a readable format actually, at least. Yeah.
So I can.
So this is fine. This is fine actually.
Most of things available. I can't see any field names here, but.
That's my anyhow he has that actually. So if I want to add some fields, then I need to know what is the field name that is available, right? So for example, this is the inside table. Can we come down? There'll be some field somewhere.
I'm just trying to find out the same. There should be field names available over here somewhere. Image link, airlink, processing attribute and children processing. Manage. Okay.
It's going to take a little time actually. It's
That's
big
okay.
XSSL
What
actually,
I
which is
can
already available.
quickly do is we can take a print of this and just try and find out if this
SOW owner.
is
No, pick up the second one. No? SOW owner. Yeah.
SOW owner, and I think.
Search it.
Yep, you have an owner.
Is that owner is?
No.
The second one is PO number. In the print.
So you have field names used over here. You have an SOW status, a final approval date, detail, SOW ID, system information template. So you have those field names available over there.
Sorry. Can you put SOW space owner? Then we'll get it.
No, that's not available.
Not
so
available.
I think
that may be coming from field list somewhere then.
Team, have a small request. There is a feedback link which has been mentioned in the chat box. I request your 2 minutes for that. Post your session after completing your session or the demo or anything else.
And please, everyone do fill. Not just
please,
3-4
everyone,
people.
I request. It just takes 1 minute. It'll help us.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Any more questions you have, guys?
Okay, Pankaj, so as of now, no, but we recently have a business scenario where like we have received a business scenario with respect to the Germany business process, right? So which basically talks about whenever the work order is approved, basically in the created stage, right? So then okay, when it's accepted, accepted by the supplier, it should go, one XSLT template should go to some signing authorities, basically to the worker council first, and then to the supplier, and also to the project manager. Okay, so once they sign it, then only that's basically as an activity item, right?
Exactly.
Once that is completed, then only you will be able to activate the work order. Okay.
Right.
So I know this requirement, but I just wanted to link how can we do this.
Okay, so for first things first is you will have to create an activity item for it, right?
Okay.
So you create an activity item. Let's since this is for the worker, now the work order has already been approved and we are looking at the worker to be activated, right?
Yeah.
So you will have to say manage worker, and it can be an onboarding task, or you can define say attachment to a worker because you possibly want that document to be attached. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm saying an attachment, and you define all the details who's going to be the actor. Here you are saying the actor is going to be the supplier account manager or the supplier account. Okay, I'm saying the supplier account manager who is defined to that buyer. And there is an option over here where you can say let me quickly pull out that action. This has to be prior to worker start date. How many days prior is what you put in? Sorry, not on this. Let me show you that option exactly, because you don't want the work order to be activated unless that activity item is completed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm creating manage worker. I'm saying complete onboarding task, and there is an option here which says you cannot activate. Make this option mandatory for activating the work order. Okay. Let me just add attachment. Contingent work order. Okay. Just need to. There is an option available. I'll give you that option where that option is. I have done that for one of my clients, so I am aware that it's available. I am just not exactly connecting it where it is right now.
Yeah.
But once that is done, what that activity item will do is it will not enable the activate button on the worker record or on the work order till the point that activity item is marked as completed. And once you mark it as complete, that's when that worker record activation button is enabled. So it basically, even the admin can't do anything unless the supplier completes that activity item. Attachment with an expiry date.
It is more or less about the e-signature process. So
exactly.
Is it like initiate a e-signature process will help, and like you selected the other one?
Yep, the DocuSign signature that you're talking about. Right?
Yes.
Yep. Manage contract and signature is what you're talking about.
I should initiate e-signature process.
Yeah, it is in
okay, I will also check from my end.
It is here, but I am not able to find the restriction option right now on this. But there is a restriction.
Document DO that will be before work start date.
Prior, sorry, not the end date. I need to select prior worker start date. Worker start. And there should be a restriction which is put on there which says cannot activate. I will share the process for it, but there is a process which we can. Yep. Let me quickly start it again. Yep.
Manage worker. Add a complete onboarding task. Actor will be prior to worker start.
Many days, let's say 2 days. No, this is what we are expecting this to complete, but there is an option that will come in over here, which says that the work order cannot be activated. I'll share you screenshots of that option. Screenshots and other scenario. Yep, you have got it, right?
Can I share the screen?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. So that option, when it is enabled, it will not show the activate button on the work order.
Worker, complete onboarding task.
Correct.
It is create prior to worker start.
Yes, required for work order activation. So this is if you say yes to this, the your business will not be able to activate that worker till this activity item is marked as completed.
The button will be created.
Yeah. The activate button will disappear. Even if everything is in place, the activate button will not appear till the point this task is not completed, and it will show an error on the work order face saying that an action is required by the supplier to complete, so
But this
you can
is
activate the
this,
work order.
yeah. So, but my ask was like to initiate a e-signature process. Okay, so this is, I know this is something managed worker, right?
You need
Yep,
to create another 2 activity item, and that should be prerequisite for this. After after completing those 2, this has to be complete. So prerequisite will be those 2. Like how many signature you want, those many activity items you need to create, and those are the prerequisites for this activity item.
So in that is initiate is.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe below for further updates.